Okay, hello everyone. Today we are having at MohirDev our dear guests, Mr. Hamid from Finastra and Mrs. Nargis of FinTech Association of Uzbekistan. Welcome to MohirDev, guys.
Thank
It's a very
you
pleasure to
for
see you
having
here.
us.
And yes, today we're gonna talk about the FinTech, its place in New Uzbekistan's strategy for development and the opportunities which we'll have with the key players of the market like Finastra, and Mr. Hamid will be enlighten us about those opportunities. And I would like to give a speech to Ms. Nargis. She's going to be our main host today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Uzbek, for having us, and we are so excited on behalf of FinTech Association. I would like to thank you for co-hosting this particular event and, interview, webinar. Obviously, this session is going to be dedicated to FinTech. And we've got a wonderful guest today, representative of our third largest FinTech company in the world, Hamid Nirouzad, who is currently a system advisory practice head at the company. So I would like to really probably touch base on the points around the development of FinTech in Uzbekistan and the growth and probably the impact that Finastra as a company sees an opportunity that Finastra sees in this country. So Hamid, welcome to the webinar, the first co-hosted together with MohirDev. So we thank you for being part of this particular interview. So tell us a little bit more about what system advisory practice is all about and who is Finastra?
Sure. Thank you very much for inviting me. Let me start with Finastra. Finastra, as you said, is the third largest fintech company globally. Finastra provides banking solutions to banks and financial institutes over 135 countries globally. Finastra can provide and does provide end-to-end banking solutions. It does cover core banking for universal banks. It does cover lending for corporate banks, treasury capital markets, and payments. So the entire solution is provided by Finastra to over 8,500 banks globally. We are a company which is head office in UK, in London, but we reach our clients through our regional offices throughout the world. Now, the second question that you asked, as you know, I have been coming to Uzbekistan for the last 4 or 5 years, and I have seen a lot of changes in the Uzbek fintech market. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I started coming here, it was the beginning of the developments of the fintech in Uzbekistan. So I noticed a lot of appetite to learn about fintech, what is it all about, and what impact it can have on the banking and finance industry. Obviously, since then, there has been a lot of knowledge transfer to the companies and to individuals in Uzbekistan. I now have seen a lot of changes that have happened. New companies and institutes have been generated and created in order to provide services to banks. Also, I have noticed that banks themselves have realized that change is coming and they need to modernize themselves and keep up with the international market. Therefore, there is a revolution coming through in terms of the fintech in Uzbekistan for banks and financial institutes, whether it is modernization of their IT infrastructure or is their processes which should be updated and should be kept up to date with the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Hamid. So obviously you've been here from 2017, and I would say that you are very much a local person now.
Thank you.
And you witnessed the transition. I would fully agree with the fact that fintech is developing massively. But how do you see the opportunities? For example, I know that Finastra is offering over 38 different products for various banks, small, medium, large banks. And obviously there are different types of banks, which is a retail banking, corporate banking clients, other type of banks which are not currently in Uzbekistan. So where do you see this real transformation happening? In which side or domain of the bank? Where do you see the fitment and where Finastra can really help to pass this knowledge as of now?
Sure. 38 products, you're correct, in our product portfolio, but we always say that is horses for courses. So not all 38 products are suitable for every single country that we operate in. For example, a number of our products are absolutely suitable for the US market, and we don't bring them out of US to other countries. In Uzbekistan, I can tell you that the changes that I can see coming through are going to be mainly in certain areas. The core banking needs to be modernized in Uzbekistan and being kept up with the rest of the world. That will drive the digital banking, which is required to be kept up to date with the rest of the world. Islamic banking, I can see, is coming through. I know that regulations are being prepared by the central bank in order to enable the banks to start processing Islamic financing and Islamic services. Given that 96% of Uzbek populations are Muslim, that is a must, and it's going to happen. In addition to that, I can say that this drive will bring in foreign investment into Uzbekistan. When foreign investment is coming through, one of the first things that they look at is the banking infrastructure, because they do need banking services. When banking services are up to date, investors will come in order to provide investments, whether it is building hotels or building roads or bringing manufacturing into their country. That will require a lot of transactions to happen between Uzbek banks and foreign banks, whether it is through letters of credit or letters of guarantee or any other instruments. That will in turn drives treasury solutions to be applied into the banking industry. Because of these transactions that is going to happen, banks will require to convert Uzbek soons into US dollar, into euros or any other currency, which requires connectivity to Reuters and to other rates and also to dealing rooms, and therefore drives all the changes that come through. This is going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years. It's not going to happen overnight, but gradually it's going to happen, and each change will drive the next one.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to come back to the core banking that you mentioned. Obviously, I'm sure that we have viewers from different angles. We probably have people who are coming from the banking background, and we also have people who are not very familiar with the type of innovation and core banking concept overall. So would you mind telling me, what does it mean changing a core banking for a common person, from a client, for a person who is coming to the bank and just getting any kind of a product or the service? So how does it change life of a commoner by replacing a core banking solution that we currently see in Uzbekistan?
Very good question. Very good question. I think the biggest impact that a common person will see is that if that person uses any channel, whether it is internet or it is mobile banking or ATM, or if he or she goes to any branch, he or she will be recognized immediately and gets the same services that he or she gets through any channel. So myself as a customer, if I go to branch A or to branch B, doesn't matter, I can apply for the same loan or same financing. Using a unique identifier, I will be recognized immediately. I can even apply for loans on internet or on mobile banking because my history is in a central place. All my information is being kept in a single database in a central place, and channels only are used to transfer the information to the viewer. So that's the biggest impact that you will see. Same service through any channel that is being serviced by the bank.
Mm-hmm. So being a customer, I should not, because right now, as a customer of a certain bank, I can only get the service from a specific branch. I cannot go elsewhere because I'm not the customer there. So the concept of the core banking replacement is centralization as such, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And you are not a customer of a branch, you are a customer of the bank.
Yeah.
That's the main difference.
Does it reduce the queue time?
It reduces...
Which is a very big issue in Uzbekistan.
It will make a lot of differences. I think, first of all, it will enable the banks to sell more products, if that's what they're after. See, any business survives based on the sales that they make. So a bank needs to sell product, whether it is a credit card or it's a saving account or a loan. That enables the customer to use the same service from any channel. You can apply for a loan online. You don't even have to go to the bank, which means that no need to spend time or to waste time to go from branch A to branch B. You can do your business online, get your latest statement, get your account balance, or transfer money between your accounts. That will definitely reduce the queues in the bank. Mm-hmm. It reduces the cost for the bank as well, because someone needs to be sitting at the counter providing these services to the customer. Now we are pushing the services back to the customer. He or she will have to do it himself, which means that I don't need to have too many people in the branch providing simple services to the customer. That person in the branch can be employed to sell products to the customer.
Do you think that the customers of the bank right now are ready to do the self-service without, having, because we have a very limited financial literature as of now. Do you think that they would be ready to have, coming to the branch, self-service, or only by using digital, channels such as mobile phone, and only get the engagement on the sales side on certain products at the till or cashier at the branch?
Again, a very good question. This is not going to happen overnight. It will take time. It will need education to happen, either in the branch or in any other way. So people will be afraid of using the technology to start with, especially, I would say, the older generation that have not been using technology as much. There will need to be education at the branch. So if you have got kiosks at the branch which is providing certain services, you will need to have people, employees of the bank, standing next to the kiosk to teach people how to use it. For the first few months, there's no question about it, that you will need to hold their hand and let them learn how to do their business on the machines, mm-hmm. or on internet or any other channel. It takes a bit of time, but it does happen. The transfer will happen, the transformation will happen, and it has happened in Europe. You walk into any branches in Europe, you see only one or two cashiers only. The rest of the people there are providing additional services and selling products. Having said that, Nargis, there will always be a certain percentage of the customers who will prefer traditional banking. They do prefer to have the banknotes in their hand and to feel it. And they don't trust the bank if there is no book to print their balance on the book. This is always going to stay. It's not going to change in the next 2-3 years. It probably needs a generation to change.
So it's still good that we have branches on the streets where we can always walk in. And in addition, obviously, MohirDev is an ed tech provider, and I'm sure this type of capacity building and the literacy and education around the financial literacy will be coming from different educational platforms. But obviously, we covered the investor side, the expectations for the banking industry. We covered the point around what does it mean for the common person, and I would like to now understand, since you've seen this country to transition for the past 5 years, I wanted to also understand, how do you evaluate banks right now? Where are they in terms of the development and the readiness to go truly digital? I'm not talking about digital being part of the strategy and somewhere on the reports, but to have really digital capability and infrastructure. How are they ready right now to embrace that innovation?
I think they have started the journey. The start of the journey is by thinking about the transformation. They are not dismissing the transformation. Every single bank that I have visited and I've spoken to, they are considering transformation. they obviously will follow different timelines depending on the strategy of the bank and what is going to happen in the next few years. Some of the banks are thinking about privatization, so priority is given to other tasks. But every single bank that I've spoken to, they are considering transformation from their traditional legacy systems into the modern digital solutions. This will enable them to also taking new products to the market in a much faster manner. So traditionally, if they had to go to the vendor and ask the vendor to create a product for them, and they had to stay in the queue for the vendor to develop that product, now they can actually do it themselves. The new tools that we give the banks enables them to develop the products themselves, to configure the solution, and to market it themselves. Mm-hmm. That is going to be a biggest transformation that this country has seen in the banking and finance industry. Banks controlling their own products.
That's a very good business model and authority that will be obviously imposed to the banks that haven't been previously managing their own business processes or owning their data, unfortunately. But obviously, transformation as a core banking replacement is a big journey. As you said, it's an open heart surgery, correct, and they will still need certain guidance from the vendor. So what are the metrics or kind of guarantees that Finastra is usually providing that this project will be guided, it will be implemented, and it will be hand-holding process with the bank together on this journey? What Finastra is providing on a day-to-day basis during the project management?
Finastra has developed over many years a certain structured implementation methodology that we follow carefully to the dot. We make sure that the project is well resourced and we employ the right people for the correct tasks within the project. This has been proven over the years on a number of projects, whether it was core banking projects or other projects which were smaller in terms of the timeline. It takes two to tango, I always say. And we do require commitment from the banks as well. So banks should and must take this seriously. We do help them by telling them what resources they need to allocate to the project, what timeline they need to allocate to the project, and we also hold their hands throughout this journey. Obviously, we do this for a living, and when you go to a bank, probably somebody in the bank has not ever seen a project being implemented in the core banking, so it's the first time, right? So we do help them. We do need commitment, though, from the senior management in the bank to make sure that the project is on track and is delivered successfully. There are no projects without hurdle. There will always be hurdles in all the projects. What is important is the fact that we can jump over those hurdles and address the issues in cooperation with the bank. Understanding is needed on both sides. I think the cultural matching is very important. You need to be able to understand each other from cultural point of view and from background point of view. And this is the main reason why we always use local partners to deliver our projects. This is a policy that we follow. We go into partnership with local company. We enable them by training them and by certifying them. And we use them to implement our systems locally in any country. There are additional advantages to being culturally matched. There's a language barrier which is no longer a problem if you use a local partner, but also the knowledge that the local partner has from the local banking requirements will help a lot to customize the system and localize the system. At this point, I would like to talk about one of the best solutions that we have, which is the Fusion Fabric.cloud. Fusion Fabric.cloud is a solution which sits on top of our core banking system, exposes the APIs of the core banking to the outside market. This will enable partners, banks, university graduates or students, system integrators, anybody in the market to develop apps which can complement our core banking solution using the APIs that we have published. This is used extensively by our partners globally to localize the systems or to provide additional functionality for our system. Functionality which is normally not part of the core banking system, for example, for compliance or for central bank reporting or for connectivity to the local clearing systems and payment systems. That is the strategy that we have used, and it's proven a strategy to de-risk the projects.
So it's basically like a large fintech marketplaces that has got everything, banks, Finastra products, developers from another side, and all the participants from the market. What is what are the requirements to start to get onboarded on this Fusion Fabric.cloud and to be accepted as part of this ecosystem?
There are certain criteria that we do apply when we choose our partners. I think the most important criteria is the ability and capability and the commitment that we expect from the partner. We invest into this relationship and we invest heavily. We will provide marketing, development, and training material to our partner. And we expect our partner to equally invest in employing the resources to be trained and to be ready to go to market with us. We expect partner to jointly go to market with us in that specific market, to sell, to implement, and more importantly, to support the customer after go live. The partner will be our nominated office in that country. Let's put it this way.
So is it like if I am a development company in Uzbekistan, let's say having an app or the product for the banking financial services industry, and that I feel would be a very good addition or could be, tested globally, can I be someone like this applying for this particular partnership through Fusion Fabric.cloud?
Yes, you can.
Excellent.
Yes, we can.
And we will probably be introducing and showing the link to FusionFabric.cloud for all the listeners to also probably follow and explore
and
potential. And see what this is all about. But I believe this is a very good opportunity for developers, predominantly in Uzbekistan.
Actually, this product especially can be interesting for our so-called startup nation. You see, creating startups, developing startups has been in trend for the past maybe 5 years and 6 years for now. And especially Uzbekistan is very much in this trend at the moment. And I'm pretty sure that the new generation of entrepreneurs and startup owners, they will be interested in applying these of your products in their projects. And saying that, I have additional question if you allow me to ask. How important for the regular entrepreneur to have knowledge about FinTech in general, or specific knowledge on the products you have mentioned, to be engaged with those products, to be engaged with or to apply to adopt FinTech solutions in their projects?
Okay.
In terms of knowledge.
Sure. I think having a knowledge of the finance and banking definitely is an advantage. You need to understand the business side of what you want to develop, obviously, and that requires some knowledge. From our point of view, we have full documentation online about the APIs that we have published. We have examples of how to develop and how to connect to our core system through these APIs. These are all available online. So I don't have any concerns about it. We actually annually run a program called Hackathon, which we invite developers to come and develop apps based on our exposed APIs, and we give them prizes. And every year there are a number of these apps being developed based on the APIs. We encourage people to do that. We have sandbox available online with full documentation, which allows people to go and play and develop apps and either save it or throw it away. So it's entirely, we will take it to our store only if it passes a certain criteria from development point of view, as security point of view. But I would say to develop an app, you need to have the business background and knowledge. That's more important than knowing the system itself. If you are a developer, you can easily use the documentation to develop.
So do you have any plans to have that hackathon in Uzbekistan?
The hackathon is done centrally in London,
Okay.
where the head office is, but the participants are from all over the world.
Okay, great.
It's done remotely.
That's definitely going to be a good opportunity
It
to
is.
bring FinTech community or even IT development community in
yeah.
Uzbekistan to participate.
Very much so, Nargis. And I just saw a lot of, and absolutely, I just saw a lot of AI developers
Yeah.
outside.
Yes.
I mean, this is a big opportunity for your
Grab them.
AI, for your AI developers to spend time and develop apps based on that. We can have discussions about it offline, but I think this is a good opportunity for you guys to engage with us.
Definitely. We will have very detailed,
Sure.
hopefully, discussion about that.
Excellent. No, the thing that I like is that, you know, it's exciting time for the market to, you know, to develop. So we see someone like Finastra, which is the leading company in the FinTech, now participating actively and exploring the opportunities and partnerships in Uzbekistan. And I think for developers and IT community right now, it's a great opportunity to learn from someone like Finastra, with a company with 30 plus years of experience. And I think that's definitely going to be a great chance for MohirDev as well to act as a bridge for this. But generally speaking, Hamid, we are excited to see Finastra here. Right, so we are excited to see what's out there in transformation in the banking industry. And I think my last question would be, what are the recommendations? I know everybody is talking about transformation. Everybody wants to go digital, right? I know it's not 100% correct probably to have branchless banks, because it doesn't really help that layer of society that still prefer cash and still prefer to see someone on another side. But what probably few recommendations that you would like to give to banks, okay, who are now seriously thinking about transformation? Where do they have to focus? What do they have to consider when choosing the right vendor for any transformation that they have, especially for the core banking?
Do your homework. Make sure you understand your requirements, not for now, but for the next 10 years. Choose a vendor that you can rely on. A core banking system can be developed by any vendor. When you look at the core bankings, you know, what is inside the core banking? It's a GL. It's a number of accounts, like current accounts, deposits, loans, and that kind of things. Choose a vendor with a good reputation that you know will be supporting you for many years to come. That's very important. Cheapest is not necessarily the best. So don't go for the cheapest vendor, and most expensive is also not necessarily the best. Choose carefully. When you want to implement a project, make sure that you have a ring-fenced team in the bank allocated to the project. Don't expect your bank employees to run 2 jobs at the same time, to be in the branch and also be part of the implementation team. You have to have a team allocated to the project and make sure that they are rewarded for the success of the project. That's very important. Use experienced project managers. Have very tight control over the project by having monthly meetings in order to, between the vendor and between the bank and any partner or system integrator, in order to make sure that the project is on plan and is progressing well. If there are any delays, know why there is delay, what we can do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So learn from your experience and from the mistakes.
No blaming each other
There is
for
no
the
blame.
success and
There
failure.
there is no blame. Things do go wrong. And I can promise you that. Things will go wrong. The vendor doesn't want to go wrong. They want to finish the project. And the bank doesn't want to go wrong, because it's their project. But there are things that are outside the control of the vendor or the bank. So things do happen, but you have to understand that as a team, you have to work towards fixing the issue, the problem, and find a solution.
Excellent. Very good recommendations. I really hope that bankers are also watching us today. Yeah. And thank you very much, Uzbek, for having us here.
Thank you very much for coming.
I think there's going to be a first sessions for us to be part of a joint effort on FinTech trends. So we will be now introducing with MohirDev and FinTech Association certain trends, topics, webinars, and some capacity building exercises and activities for the market for everyone to watch. So we will try to be as as clear as possible. So please do comment on anything that you would like to see in the next sessions, and we will be happy to get our next interviews. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, guys. And it was a pleasure to have you guys here, and we had very informative and fruitful discussion with Mr. Hamid. Hope to see you again in our office. Yeah, we'll be very glad to get some partnership opportunities with Finastra and MohirDev as well. And of course, as Nargis said, this is the beginning of our journey to create awareness and to contribute to the development of FinTech in Uzbekistan, together with the FinTech Association of Uzbekistan and MohirDev. And yeah, thank you very much for watching us, and see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.